Hey GearFacts friends, today we are looking at two current champions in the keyboard market. This is going to be one heck of a comparison between these two brilliant keyboards. Let's get ready to rumble! Okay, so we got the CT X3000, the third highest in the current series of Casio keyboards. Here we have the Yamaha PSRE 463. This is the current highest in a series of 6 current Yamaha home keyboards. So I've just switched them both on, and the logical place to start is to listen to the default piano sound. Okay, well I think the differences are extremely subtle. They're both high quality, there's no doubt about it. I do think the X3000 takes the pennant for that one though, because as the notes decay, you can hear a little bit more modulation, a little bit more realism than you do on the Yamaha. You can hear that synth-like blending of the two notes. It's too perfect. Although I will say the sound doesn't boom out of the speakers on the X3000 like it does on the 463. But yeah, I think we'll award the points to the Casio on that one. Next we're going to compare a couple of electric piano sounds. Very nice. Alright, well for this particular round I'm not going to award any points either way, because electric piano is a very arbitrary thing. There are a lot of variations. Both of the keyboards have effects that you can apply to them, but I did just want to run that quick comparison. As I scroll through though, I will note that the Casio has a lot more choice in the way of pianos and electric pianos. Moving on to organs now, both keyboards have a lot of organs to choose from and there are a lot of great sounds. Remember, of course, we've got effects on both units as well, so very malleable organ sounds. I'm not going to go through everything in the organ section. Both of them have a great selection. Both of them have a lot of feel and a lot of style in their organ sounds. So you might as well toss a coin. There's going to be something to please everybody in both of these keyboards. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead to the synth sounds now. So this is quite a large category for both keyboards. There are plenty of sounds to choose from. So we've arrived at two similar sounds. And being in the synth section, really we have to switch on the arpeggiators for both of these keyboards and really indulge in that electronica style to see what they can bring out for us. So running through the arpeggiators, I think the Yamaha showed us a bit more personality and style. The Casio arpeggiators tend to be very mathematical, and the ones that are more melodic are not really nice melodies in most of it, whereas it's a bit more random and crazy on the 463. So I found that a bit more exciting to use on the techno electronica side of things. And at this point, I do have to mention too that the 463 does have these dynamic controls. And that is an undeniable advantage. These two dials here that give us all that manual control are a really exciting feature that adds a whole lot more to live performance and more to the studio experience as well. I feel, however, that the X3000 compensates for that by having a much more comprehensive effects section. There are something like 150 effects algorithms, and some of them will take you through a lo-fi, hi-fi kind of envelope that will simulate this kind of... will do that sound, but it'll do it on autopilot. And some players may or may not prefer it that way. However, the effects section does have all kinds of distortion, fuzz, phaser, flanger, many different kinds of delay and reverb. It's a lot more comprehensive than what the 463 has to offer. So again, it's going to very much come down to what your personal taste is. Think about how you're going to apply your instrument, what sort of situations you're going to play in, and that'll help you make your decision. Let's have a bit of a jam in A minor. Ooh, notice a bit of distortion when that's really loud on the 463. I have to pull back a little bit. Something to consider. Anyway, back to the point of what I was doing. Let's have a jam in A minor. That's fun. Alright, let's move on to synth pads. Generally, I've found that the synth pads are more lively on the X3000. Again, they are louder and more punchy on the big speakers of the 463, but I think the bassline quality is better on the 3000. One huge factor in favour of Yamaha's 463 though is that it can sample. It's not a hugely in-depth or versatile sampler, but the fact that it can do it essentially makes this a keyboard that can carry almost any sound. When you import a sound from another source, you won't quite get the same original quality, but of course that's not always a barrier to creating great music. It's a whole other angle that the 463 has, which is not enjoyed by the X3000. Now we're going to take a look at drum sounds. Okay, individual sounds I think are considerably better on the X3000, but the styles are more fun and interesting on the 463. But then again, I guess it depends what you build around it. The actual beat itself, is it going to make that much of a difference? I think there is more creative energy in the 463. Like I said though, with individual drum sounds there are more to choose from in the X3000, and the quality of each individual sound is a bit better. Okay, so we've had a reasonably comprehensive look at sounds, and I have made other videos of each of these keyboards showing the sounds that they offer and the kinds of effects and other sound related features that are involved with each of the models. I will go on record as saying that each individual sound is generally of a better standard than the 463, but I feel that on the 463 the sounds are applied in a way that's a bit more exciting, and I know that's a little bit of a hard statement to understand, but when you factor in the way the effects work, the way the arpeggiator works, and things like the pitch bend wheel and that kind of thing, it's really a very exciting keyboard to play, and it has a lot of depth. You can come up with a lot of fascinating surprises that are really musical. The X3000 is more about precision. The sounds really are very high quality. A lot of them will rival synthesizers that cost the same amount or even more. They're pretty impressive, and the effects system, like I said, really comprehensive, very in-depth. You can really sit down on this keyboard and synthesize. On the live side of things, it doesn't offer quite the same versatility as the 463, but once all the sounds that you've got are in place and you've programmed them into your quick access keys right there, you can really put on a very cool live show, and it's also an excellent keyboard for the studio. Build quality of each keyboard? Well, there's really absolutely nothing in it. And by that I mean that both are equally dependable. Looking at the back now, and I think we've got a reasonably good view of the back of both keyboards here, you can see that the sockets are almost identical. Obviously they're positioned a little bit differently. Both of them have sockets for PC communication and for a USB stick, which you could use to back up your whole system, or in the case of the Yamaha, import samples. The other sockets are exactly the same for both, although I will point out that on the X3000 you have two sockets for pedals. You can have an expression pedal as well as a standard sustain pedal. So how do you make a final call, my friends? Well, I'm not going to try to. What you have to think about is what kind of performer you are, what your expectations and your goals are in music, and how you think these keyboards might be able to accommodate that. Some people won't care at all about the fact that the 463 can sample. They'll be more interested in the superior sounds, particularly the pad sounds, synth sounds, and organ sounds on the X300. I guess the X300 is probably geared to more purist kinds of players, ones who are always going to be on those black and white keys, whereas the Yamaha is maybe a little more versatile. It's got its dynamic controls there and a lot of features that can be accessed nice and quickly. Both of them weigh about the same, both of them can run on battery or mains power. They both have the same number of keys and a very similar feel in the keys. One critical point about both keyboards here, and that is the screens. If you have a look at the Casio screen, at the normal playing angle, all you see there is a whole bunch of squares. If I go straight down on it, perfect, beautiful screen. Normal angle, pretty much illegible. If you go to the Yamaha one, it's got this coating over the top. It's a plastic sheet, extremely reflective. It'll reflect any light and any high contrast surface that's in the room. I know it's not really showing anything like that now, but in one of my other videos about this keyboard, I show you some lights around the room, and really the screen becomes virtually invisible. So neither screen is all that great. They're both using the same screens that they've used for years, and this is one area where I think they could both improve. Anyway, GearFacts friends, that's all I can think of to tell you about the differences between the X3000 and the PSRE 463 right now. I hope that video was some help for you. I can understand if it was no help at all. Like I said, think about your aims, your goals, your needs, and choose accordingly. Thanks for watching GearFacts. There are plenty of other videos about both of these keyboards, so I look forward to seeing you for those and many more great videos to come. Please like, comment, subscribe, or share!